"You're trespassing," the man growled, waving a rolled-up eviction notice in my face, standing on my lake cabin porch like he owned the world. His red pinewood HOA badge hung crooked on his chest, glinting in the lake's still-water sun. "You've got 30 days to vacate, or the sheriff will drag you out." I blinked, stunned. "Excuse me?" He smirked, pointing to the dock where HOA pontoons bobbed. "That dock. It's ours. Touch it again and you're done." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because of the storm about to hit. They didn't know I owned this cabin, the entire lakefront lot, and their precious dock. I leaned against the porch rail, sipped my coffee, and stared at Lake Stillwater, letting them dig their grave. Then it got worse. He radioed for backup, and 3 HOA board members roared up in golf carts, hurling legal threats, oblivious to the deed in my safe that would torch their world. That's when one of them, a wiry guy, grabbed a rock and hurled it at my cabin window. Glass shattered with a crack. I dropped my cup. They'd crossed a line, and I was ready to bury them. I'm Lucas Bennett, a 47-year-old veteran, quiet by choice. After retiring early, I bought this cabin by Lake Stillwater, a serene spot where crickets sang at night and herons skimmed the water by day. It was my dream since childhood summers fishing here with my grandpa, who'd say, "Lucas, you'll own this lake one day." I thought he was kidding until after his death, an envelope arrived with a deed. He'd bought the lakefront decades ago, leaving it to me. The HOA formed later, built around it, assuming the land was theirs. I kept quiet, living simply, fishing, reading, fixing neighbors' fences for free. The Harrisons down the road brought me casseroles after I saved their kid Noah from a storm-tossed canoe. Life was peaceful until the HOA elected a new president, Martin Crane, a loudmouth in aviators who acted like a drill sergeant. Within months, he pushed rules: no flags, no campfires, no fishing without an HOA permit. I ignored them until a letter appeared on my door: violation of Pinewood HOA Code 47B. Vacate within 30 days. I figured it was a mix-up, so I visited their office by the clubhouse. There, I met Elaine Morrow, the HOA secretary, her blonde hair in a bun so tight it could crack walnuts. "You're not in our registry," she sneered. "This cabin's on HOA land. Get out." I explained my deed, but she scoffed. "I don't care if you've got a note from the governor." Stunned, I left, called my lawyer, James, and told him everything. He laughed. "They're trying to evict you from your own land. Let them overplay their hand." So I did, waving at neighbors, fishing quietly, and logging every HOA move. They padlocked the communal trash, so I burned my garbage. They blocked my mailbox, forcing me to town for mail. I stayed calm until the eviction notice and that rock through my window. "Who threw that?" I asked, voice steady. Martin stepped forward. "Doesn't matter. It's not your window. You're lucky we haven't razed this shack." I retrieved my deed from the safe, handed it to Martin, and watched his smirk vanish as he read. "This is impossible," he muttered. I pointed to the highlighted section. "You're on my land. That dock. Mine too." The board crowded around, jaws dropping. Then sirens wailed. 2 sheriff's cruisers rolled up. Martin stammered, "What the hell?" I stayed calm, knowing who'd called. Deputy Lawson, a broad-shouldered guy I knew from town, stepped out with a rookie, Officer Reeves. "Call about a squatter," Lawson said, eyeing the HOA crew. Elaine pointed at me. "That's him." I handed Lawson the deed. He scanned it, whistled, and turned to Elaine. "Ma'am, step back. Mr. Bennett owns this lot, 200 feet of lakefront and that dock." Martin's face fell. "He's squatting." "No," Lawson said. "And that broken window. Who threw the rock?" Silence. "I've got security footage," I said. "A board member, Todd, blurted. "Martin did it." "Shut up," Martin hissed. But Lawson radioed for backup. "Step back. We're reviewing footage. Mr. Bennett, you can press charges." Martin turned purple. "This land's ours." I shrugged. Wishing doesn't make it true. The HOA slunk to their carts, Elaine tripping over a root, muttering about legal errors. I exhaled but knew this was just round one. The next morning, I filed a vandalism report and met James, who grinned. Time to get proactive. We sent the HOA a cease and desist letter warning of lawsuits for further harassment. I posted private property and CCTV signs, especially by the dock. For a week, it worked. Birds sang, the lake gleamed. But then Noah Harrison ran up, pale. They're saying you forged the deed, using your grandpa's death to steal the land. That night, someone poured oil into my fishing boat. Furious, I marched to the dock, loosened its anchor pins, and let it drift. Martin ran out, screaming, "What are you doing?" I held up the deed. "You're trespassing. Get your boats off my dock by sundown." He waded in, cursing as the dock floated free. I live-streamed it. Neighbors tuned in, comments exploding. "He owns the dock. Fire Martin." Martin climbed onto a boat, paddling frantically, then slipped and splashed face-first into the lake. The video went viral, Facebook groups, Reddit, captioned, "HOA boss tries to evict lake owner, swims instead." Martin vanished for 2 days, but on day 3, a yellow envelope appeared in my mailbox, marked private property. Inside, a lawsuit from the HOA's new lawyer accused me of forging ownership, damaging their dock, and causing emotional distress. They demanded I vacate or face court. My blood boiled. At James's office, he smirked. "This is baseless. Your deed's ironclad, and we've got their vandalism on tape. But here's the kicker." He pulled a survey map. "Your grandpa owned the lake bed under their dock. They owe you rent." I stared. "Every boat, anchor, even their sprinkler sits on your land." James drafted a letter demanding back pay for unauthorized use. I sent it certified mail. A week later, Martin called an emergency HOA meeting, live-streamed by a rogue member. He shouted, "He's bluffing." But Todd stood. I checked the records. "Lucas owns the lake bed." A woman gasped, "We've been trespassing." The room erupted. I walked in, holding the deed and lawsuit. "Drop this. Apologize publicly, and you can use the dock with permission. Or I'll fence the shore, cut water access, and sue for back pay." Martin snarled, "See you in court." I nodded. "Your funeral." I left, the crowd buzzing. Days later, muddy tire tracks scarred my driveway, gasoline trailing to my porch with a burnt rag. Attempted arson. I called the sheriff. Lawson arrived, furious, collecting boot prints and fingerprints. "This is criminal now," he said. I called a news station. If they wanted war, I'd make it national. 2 news vans arrived by noon. Reporter Claire Evans from WKTV News shook my hand. "Heard someone tried to burn you out. Talk." I showed her the broken window, gas trail, and deed. By 6 p.m., the story aired. Lake owner fights Pinewood HOA terror, alleges arson. It exploded online, Reddit, TikTok, with memes of Martin's lake flop. James called. "You stirred the hive. They're claiming you staged the arson, but we've got evidence, tire marks, boot sizes. None match you. Their new Chicago lawyers are aggressive, but we're ready." That weekend, I hosted a community cookout, chili, cornbread, neighbors sharing HOA horror stories. "This isn't just my fight," I said. "It's about stopping bullies with badges." Cheers rang out. A retired teacher, Mrs. Clara, vowed to vote me for council. The HOA retaliated, emailing residents to shun me, threatening fines for visiting my land. It backfired. The Harrisons brought muffins, the Coopers built a camera stand, and Todd quit the board, slipping me an HOA financial report. It showed Martin and Elaine pocketing thousands in bonuses and fees. James filed for a county audit. Investigators raided the HOA office, serving warrants. Martin was cornered. 3 nights later, a bulldozer roared outside. Martin stepped from the cab. "I'll bury your cabin." He lunged forward, splintering my porch steps. I flipped on floodlights as sheriff's cruiser screeched in. Lawson shouted, "Power down." Martin ignored him, but Reeves tossed a spike strip, popping the tires. Lawson tackled Martin as he fled. "You're under arrest, property destruction, endangerment." Martin thrashed. "He stole our land." I held up the deed. You assumed I'd fold. Neighbors gathered, Elaine in a robe, muttering. Mrs. Clara snapped. You let this go too far. Lawson confirmed financial crime charges against the HOA. The news story hit 3 million views, Claire reporting Martin's arrest. A senator called, seeking my input on HOA reform. At a cookout, the Harrisons played music, Mrs. Clara brought pie, and Todd apologized. Then a luxury SUV pulled up. A man in a gray suit stepped out. I'm Edward Langston, representing Horizon Ventures, the HOA's original funder. We'll buy your land, cabin, lake bed, dock. Name your price. He opened a briefcase. $7.3 million in cash. Silence fell. You try to burn me out, sue me, bulldoze my home, I said. Now you want to buy it? He smiled. Business is business. I pushed the case back. Not for sale. Langston's eyes hardened. The HOA was our tool to pressure you. You were supposed to cave. My heart raced. They'd orchestrated everything. You'll regret this, he said, driving off. I called James. Go nuclear, he said. We sent evidence to the state attorney general, HOA fraud, Horizon Ventures ties, the arson. James filed for a conservation trust to lock the lake as protected land. Neighbors rallied, signing petitions. Claire's next story, lake owner exposes corporate conspiracy, drew the EPA, who found rare salamanders in Stillwater, triggering federal protection. Horizon Ventures folded, their CEO resigning. Martin faced fraud and conspiracy charges. A black sedan arrived. A woman, Rachel Langston, stepped out. I'm Edward's niece. I found this in his files. She handed me a deed. My grandpa had donated part of the shoreline for community use, void if anyone claimed ownership. The HOA's actions nullified their rights. They hid it, Rachel said. I invited her for dinner. Only if it's better than revenge, she quipped. At the Stillwater Revival Festival, I spoke on the dock. This lake belongs to us all, not developers. Later, a floating envelope washed ashore. Inside, a photo of Martin and Langston with a Stillwater map and a note. Secrets buried under your cabin. Be ready. I dug behind the chimney, unearthing a box. My grandpa's journal, photos, and contracts exposing a 50-year land grab by Langston's family. They'd used the HOA as pawns. I sent it to the Attorney General. The cabin stood, the lake safe. Martin and Elaine were convicted, fraud, vandalism, and conspiracy, facing years in prison. Horizon Ventures collapsed under federal scrutiny, Langston fleeing overseas, but later extradited. The HOA dissolved, its assets seized to refund neighbors' fines. Stillwater became a protected trust, the dock open to all. I rebuilt my porch, hosted cookouts, and trained Noah to fish. Rachel joined the community, exposing more of Horizon's schemes. The journal's evidence sparked a state inquiry, dismantling the Langston family's network. No more envelopes arrived. Lake Stillwater was free, its secrets buried no longer. My home was mine, and the fight was over for good.